We're back in New York. I've got to say, it is absolutely freezing up here. So thank you to Florida for providing me with warmth for 2 weeks. You reminded me what summer might feel like. But today, I've been back up in the Adirondacks for about a week now. I'm currently working on my friend's truck. He's got his ABS lights going on, so I just pulled the tires off. And in this video, what I'd like to talk about is Ivan. I've been working on my sister's Jeep. I'm now working on my friend's truck. We got Navi completely unloaded, but I got all the information about Ivan. I can officially tell you that we're going to pick it up in April. And I've got everything of what happened, why it got delayed, why we haven't gotten it this winter, and it's just gonna be a great thing that officially I can tell the story of Ivan. But to kind of catch up to where we're at right now with this truck, I gotta get back down to Florida because, as I said in the last video, from Schoolie Swarm, we headed over to Will from the Number One Bus to help him out on his new project, his new Humvee, and we were switching out the transmission in that project. All right, so while I was at the Schoolie Swarm, Will and his dad put the transmission in already. So they got the old one out. That one was a 3-speed. They wanted to switch it out to a 4-speed, so they've dropped the new transmission in. So all I can really help Will with is reconnecting the transmission.
Which is still a lot of work. We're not shy of work.
Yeah, but the drive shaft, we were trying to put it back in, and the U-joint broke, so we need to go get a new U-joint so we can put the drive shaft in. Actually, we still need to make sure the drive shaft is the right length.
Yeah, we're not totally sure on that yet.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of parts here, but we're gonna have some fun, and pretty much anytime me and Will are hanging out,
it's always a good time.
Yeah,
and we got to do wiring today. Who doesn't love wiring?
Yeah, those are all things that are on my list, so check, check, check. And I think the first thing is going to get a new one of these guys right here. So this little part right here is about 1/5 to a half times the size of the one that we replace in school buses. It's the nicest looking part on the whole.
It's so nice, brand new. Yeah. Now, I got this.
What kind of project did you get us involved in here?
We're over it. I'm just gonna push this thing outside and sell it as is.
I'd put it on the market. And as you do more to it, I would keep bumping the price up.
Yeah, every night we work on it, just put it on the road,
yeah,
and just put a price on it. And if someone buys it, great. If not, every day the price just
goes up.
Yeah.
Just have like a digital number on there, and I'll just update it for my phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, come over here and find it. We're in Florida somewhere.
Yep. Right now the drive shaft isn't in it, so by the end of this video, price is going up.
It is. Come now, before this video's made. Oh, that went straight in.
So don't complain.
It literally went.
Grown. Yeah. Or Will and I were laying underneath this Humvee trying to get it in. What we realized was that the actual yoke on the new transmission does not fit the U-joint. So I think we've come up with a couple options. I think we've kind of determined what we have to do though.
And I mean, half the battle with this Humvee in general is you can't really get parts easily for it. So you got to search eBay, and people like to ship stuff on their own time. So now I think we're gonna go eat and see if we can find the right specs for this new drive shaft, because switching the transfer case is a whole nother mess. Yeah. Hey, it's always a puzzle.
We're gonna
just gotta wait.
Yeah, we do what we have to do to make sure that it gets there. So this is the part we're talking about. This one right here. So the new transmission that's put in, the problem is that this piece is bigger, so the drive shaft doesn't fit. So we either have to switch that one with that one, get a larger drive shaft. Will's gonna figure it out. And plus, I'm only here for a day, so we don't get it done today. Let me know when it gets done. And I can confidently tell you that this is not the first mess up that Will's had in terms of this Humvee. He's been filming this entire project. He's already worked on the engine. I was here last week and helped put the tires on. His dad's been here for about 2 months now, helping him just do everything else on it, the brakes, the breakdowns. So eventually, if you guys go over at Will's channel, you're gonna be able to check out this entire build series, because he is very intensely filming it, but also just trying to get it done.
I mean, and the real thing, we want to get the vehicle running perfectly before we start dumping money into the build-out conversion of it. So that's where we're at right now in the process.
So it's for sale right now. Call Will for inquiries, but you can have it right now for the best price.
By the time this comes out, it might be running already.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. This video, when this comes out, it might still, be save this project and just buy it from them. But by the time that Will puts his videos out, it's going to be done.
I feel like we got like that on the bus at some point. You get to a point, you're like, I'm over it. Yeah. I want to leave. I'm just done. Yeah. I'm done right now. Yeah. Let's go do something else.
You'll start loving it again soon, I'm sure.
I know.
And for pretty much the rest of the day, Will and I drove around to every Napa, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Advanced Auto, anything you could possibly name. We went to it trying to find a U-joint conversion that would take us from the drive shaft to the new yoke. We couldn't end up finding one, so after a bunch of driving around, we ended up coming back, pulling the yoke off the old transfer case, putting it on the new one, and switching them out. Ended up being a lot easier than we thought it was going to be, but neither of us have ever done it before, so it was definitely something new to learn. But after that day, it ended up being where it was time to head out, and we had to get back north. So me and my dad started packing up the bus and said our goodbyes. We got the drive shaft in. It's the next morning. It's time to head back up north. Goodbye, Will.
I'll drive it up to you next time. So we don't
Yeah,
have to
drive
work
the
on it
Humvee
down
up to
here.
the Adirondacks.
But it'll be nice and cool outside, and because it'll be hot here, so I'm out.
All right, because we never fixed the starting problem. We have the relay, we have the problem solved. We just haven't fixed it yet. I'm gonna go start the bus like we have been underneath, and I think at this point, this might be one of those things we just never fix on purpose, because it's just become a funny joke to us now that we have to grab this wire and start the bus every time. You know, they always say, you know, the plumber's pipes are always leaking. Well, in this case, the guy that lives in a school bus is always starting his bus from underneath. Oh, good! Two things just happened. One, Nabby just started without me doing anything. Two, I dropped my phone out of my pocket and I almost ran it over again. What did you do?
I just turned the key. Maybe it likes some warm weather. I have no idea.
Bye, Will.
Bye. I'm just a neutral breakfast again.
Well, the drive home ended up taking about 21 hours. The GPS said 18, so I guess that means we spent about 3 hours in slowdown time, stoppage time, and sleep time. So we made it back up here pretty darn quick, which I was pretty happy about. But when I got back up here, I got a message from Will about the drive shaft, just for a little update on what happened after I left.
Hey Mike, quick update since we're drive shaft experts now. The U-joint, like you know, when we got fixed was good, but then when we got the rest of the transmission and the fuel tank back in there, the drive shaft for the rear one, here, let me go ahead and show you. The rear one doesn't fit in the spline. So, after all of that work, and a week later, I still don't have a drive shaft. So I actually had to get one custom made. And, you know, it's just the drive shaft saga continues, so.
So it's for sale right now.
And then I also jumped right on into all the problems and projects that were here back at home. So Rachel's car was overheating. I had to possibly change out a thermostat. I had to make sure the bus was completely emptied of all the water so that nothing froze, because we are still in winter up here. Then I started working on this truck. But man, Will, I think, is having more fun than I am.
Hope you're staying warm up there in the Adirondacks.
Well, we're definitely not in Florida anymore. I gotta snow blow and blow the lines out, because last time we almost froze them. I just started the bus and I did it with the key, and I'm at this point utterly convinced that Navi was just upset that it didn't go on a trip for a while. And we went to Florida, it started working, now we're back. It works. Every time that I go on a trip and I'm gone for, I don't know, 2 weeks, I went out to Utah to visit Dean, just went to Florida for Daytona and Scully Swarm. And every time I come back, something breaks on Rachel's Jeep, or something breaks on Rick's truck, or something breaks on the house. And this time I came back, Rachel said her Jeep is overheating. So the first task of me getting back is I unloaded the bus, and then I'm pretty much jumping right into this. So we're gonna be changing the thermostat, and then, you know, just seeing if we can get this thing fixed. It might also be the housing. I'm not too sure yet, but we're gonna figure it out. It's always something. Alright, I think I've determined my plan of attack. I've got her, I think it's called the thermostat housing, pulled out. And I tested both the thermostats. I put them in boiling water to see if they'd actually open. This one opened, this one wasn't working, so I got a new thermostat for the thermostat housing. My plan is, this was a $20 part. We're gonna put it back in, install the entire thing, let her drive it for like 20 miles and see if the codes come back. If it does, it means there's most likely a leak somewhere in here, or I think this sensor right here might be bad. But this sensor's a $20 part. It's really easy to get to right on the top, and then if we have to, we might have to replace this entire housing, and that's like $150. So we're gonna take this in stages and see if we can't fix it simply. But should be just putting a bunch of hoses back in and then trying to see if this Jeep works.
Chuck in here to do some brakes.
Well,
Potentially look at them at least, see what's going on.
we gotta take it for a drive, and I gotta see what he's talking about. And now we've officially come full circle. We are back to working on Rick's truck, and Rachel's Jeep is officially running. She's been test driving it over the last few days, and it seems as though the coolant issue is fixed. So I'm thinking we won't have to change the sensor, won't have to change the housing. You never know. I mean, she might tell me next week that everything's actually horrible and I have to fix it all again. It happens. Officially now, all I gotta do is get this truck. I gotta get the back two tires off, take the sensors out for the ABS system, and then make sure that they're working, test them out. But we can start talking about Ivan now. What happened to Ivan? All right, let's talk about Ivan. If you guys are new around here and you don't know who Ivan is my blue school bus, the bus that we bought in December of 2019. We built it out for over about a year and a half, and in the summer of 2021, we took it on a road trip with Dale, myself, my siblings, my college roommate Justin, Van, and Ivan. We all headed out to Colorado for a summer road trip.
Good job, slacker bus.
It looks like it's just the clamp came loose, so I think I can just get a ratchet set and put that clamp back on. It's supposed to be a really fun 2 weeks, and it did not go at all to plan. All right, so we've been checking the fluid on all the vehicles, you know, doing our due diligence. And at some point yesterday, Justin started noticing some issues going on with the transmission last night. You know, now it's morning. We stopped at the first gas station just down the road, and there's no transmission fluid. So here we go.
Who needs it?
So on the way out to Colorado, we didn't know this at the time, but one of Ivan's transmission cooler lines rusted a pinhole in it and was most likely leaking out all of the transmission fluid during the course of driving across the country. By the time we got to Kansas and Justin was driving, realized something was going on, the sensor started going off, he pulled over to the side of the road and let me know, and at that point it was just kind of a bit too late to fix anything because the transmission had already overheated. The fluid probably had gone out quite a few miles before he even started driving when I passed the vehicle off to him. And at that point, we were stuck in a Kansas City parking lot trying to figure out what to do, how to get it fixed, if we could just flush the system, if it needed a new transmission. Nothing at this point was known. I just knew that if we could get it another 500 miles from Kansas to Colorado, we knew a mechanic there, and my friend Jimmy, who has a shop up in the mountains up in Colorado, he'd be able to help us. So the goal at that point was go from Kansas to Colorado. Fortunately, we made it to Colorado. We got over the pass. I think it's Loveland Pass. We got over backside towards Silverthorne, and the bus made it to the mechanic's place. But I'm pretty sure at that point the transmission was pretty much guaranteed to be shot. We were running on the last fumes, the last miles of that transmission's life at that point. But we did get it there without a tow, so that was successful. But at this point, we needed to get it in the mechanic shop, find a transmission, get the transmission put in, and do it all within 2 weeks before we headed back east with the entire group and the trip. Now, the reason why it took so long was not the mechanic's fault. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't the transmission rebuilder's fault. What ended up happening was when we ordered the transmission, I ordered it through a local distributor. They sent it out to a rebuild shop. Apparently, the communication between those two people just fell apart at some point. So over the course of months of me calling and the mechanic calling, asking for, where's the transmission, ends up that the transmission essentially just never got ordered. So we were waiting for 3 months for a transmission that was never gonna show up anyway. Yeah, ended up winter coming around. The transmission did finally get ordered. It did finally show up somewhere in late November. But the problem was at this point, it was winter. The mechanic put it in. Ivan got snowed in the back of the shop. If many of you remember, we went on the trip in summer, so there was no heat in Ivan. I didn't put the diesel heater back in. I didn't put the dash heat back in. So now that it was the middle of winter, it just wasn't the greatest idea to go pick up Ivan at this point. So we made the decision to just let it sit till spring. The fun thing is I called the mechanic. I talked to my friend Jimmy. I got a snow report. And it looks as though somewhere in later April, we're going to be able to get the bus out of the snow, go pick it up, and drive it back east in the better weather. My plan right now is back here in the Adirondacks, we have what we call mud season and black fly season, which is kind of the beginning of spring when the snow thaws out and all the bugs start. So right in that window of time, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to fly out to Colorado. We're going to go pick up Ivan and bring it back. And the goal is to pick up Ivan and miss mud season and black fly season. If we can accomplish that, we are going to be starting off a phenomenal spring and phenomenal summer just moving forward. Well, there you go. That's what happened to Ivan, and that's the plan of when we're going to pick it up. From now until late April when we do pick it up, there's not really going to be many projects, unfortunately. I don't have another bus sitting around the property. We kind of just tested and fixed it up Navi all the way. So what we're going to be doing is some projects around here in the Adirondacks. Maple syrup season starts next week. I do have that truck out in the yard that I'm going to be putting a camper on the back, so we're going to start working on that, and I have some backlogged videos that we're going to put together there. But pretty much at this point, we're looking forward to the beginning of spring. We're looking forward to going to get Ivan. We got some really fun, different types of projects going on around here that we're going to be sharing over the next few weeks. So thanks for watching. Get excited for Ivan. I'll see you next time.